Stress is a fact of life. Everything from weather, noise, and traffic can add stress to our lives. We all need a way to manage stress in a healthy way. Dr. Ronald J. DeVries from Pine Rest is here to help us. Okay, so many different things that can totally stress us out.
Correct.
But there are also some things about stress that it's kind of important to remember.
Well, that's where you start. You realize stress is a fact of life, and it's really about managing stress. There's a very famous curve that talks about the Yerkes-Dodson curve.
Okay.
And it basically just kind of shows us that we need some stress to make our performance go up.
Which is funny because you think like, oh man, I don't need the stress in my life, yuck. But if you don't have any sort of thing to push
then we would not perform well at all.
Okay, but then if you get to that tipping point.
Correct. Then if you watch the curve, it's a bell curve, there's a point, and for everyone, maybe even every day, it can vary back and forth.
Okay.
But there's a point where too much stress, our performance drops off, and it drops off actually fairly rapidly.
Well, and that's an important thing, to notice too. Every day is going to be different.
Just
because one day you weren't stressed
right.
out doesn't mean the next day, you might be.
Correct.
Okay, so what are some things we need to remember when it comes to managing? I think a lot of it is self-care and kind
Correct.
of managing, yourself and as much as you can things around you. So how does that kind of come into play? What are some tips for that?
Right. Well, first you want to just identify what kind of day am I going to have? What kind of week am I going to have? These are really important ways of just kind of stress management again.
Yes.
Is this going to be a stressful day? Then I need to be more intentional about my self-care today.
Okay, and one of the things that I think causes a lot of stress is this.
Right.
This thing that's always attached to me.
Correct.
So what are some things that are important to do when it comes to, not only relaxing things you can do, but also, there's certainly things that you can kind of cut out as well. But first, what are some things that we can be doing in our lives to just kind of take a breath, relax a little bit?
Getting outdoors is really important. I like to think of using our 5 senses.
Okay.
I will encourage my clients sometimes to go outside and listen to the wind. Or we live in a wonderful state that has 4 seasons.
And now that it's starting to get a little warmer,
everybody was outside yesterday
Yep.
in the 70-degree weather. Get outside, feel the warmth on your skin. That's another sense that sometimes. So if we get into our 5 senses, it really does help de-stress us, even for just a moment. Breathing is, of course, important as well, but just paying attention to our, the cliche, smell the roses. Take time to smell the roses.
And it doesn't have to be for, an hour long.
Correct.
Even just a couple minutes.
Right. But if you're going into a stressful day, it's helpful sometimes to plan, what, I'm going to need some kickback time.
Yeah.
I'm back to that curve. We want to bring the stress performance down, and there's nothing wrong with having a laid back moment.
Well, and what about some things that we want to try and cut out of our lives or limit, I guess?
Right. Well, of course, the big ones, too much TV, too much drugs, alcohol, you want to keep those out. Too much sleeping, not enough sleeping. These are kinds of important. But there's also the negative self-talk. You really want to get away from that perfectionistic, I must perform, I must do well all the time.
Okay. What are really quick takeaways, something that we can change today?
Pick one thing.
Okay.
Pick one thing.
Wonderful. For more information about Pine Rest, visit the link we put on our website. Just go to WZZM13.com. Thanks. Have a great day.